Okay, hi everyone. So you're in the right place if you joined to come to the Chili Piper and G2 office hours. So my name is Rachel. I am the resident partner marketer here at G2, and I'm super excited to talk through our Chili Piper integration and also share a little bit about our other partnerships that we have available to our customers at G2. And I'm joined by Sarah, our director of MOPS. Here at G2. Sarah, do you want to intro yourself a little bit, or did I already do it for you?
I think you pretty much nailed it. That's it. Yeah, I'm Sarah. I've been at G2 for over a year now, joined in marketing operations.
Awesome. And we're also joined by two very special guests from Chili Piper. Our friends at this point, because we worked very hard on launching this integration together. Alexi, Director of the Technology Ecosystem at Chili Piper, and Alyssa, the Director of Product Management. Cool. So for many of you, if this is your first office hours, I'll kind of just give you a quick overview of what to expect. So this is not a webinar. We're not going to be talking at you for an hour straight. This is meant to be, an open call to our customers or future customers about specifically this topic. We host these office hours about once a month. We took a little break in the summer to give people some time to enjoy their summer, but we're back in action. We have previous sessions around our buyer intent data, our LinkedIn matched audiences integration. And so if you want to check those out, you can go to sell.g2 /office-hours. That's a mouthful, but it's really just search for G2 office hours and you'll get to that lander and see all of our previous sessions. And you'll see these are kind of like workshop style, ask me anything type session. So a couple of housekeeping items. If you would remain off mute for the time being until the discussion, that is or on mute, I should say, would be appreciated. Raise your hand or just drop a question in the chat. I actually can't see the chat. So if we do have a question, Sarah or Alyssa or Alexi, let me know. And any follow-up questions, we're actually going to send out an email to all of you. So if you have any follow-up questions, you can reply directly to that and we can find the right person to help answer. So like I mentioned, today's topics, we're going to cover quickly the Partner Hub for G2, a little bit about our integrations, and then do a deeper dive into Chili Piper. So our Partner Hub, for those of you who don't know, and if you are not yet a customer of G2, this might be new information for you. All of our integrations that are offered by G2 are free, with the exception of Salesforce. I always have to caveat that because it's very complex to set up. But we have buyer intent integrations offered through our buyer intent data, which are free for anyone who's on a pro or above package. So if you're getting buyer intent data from G2, you can leverage any of those integrations. And then our review and profile integrations are free for any G2 package holder. So that is where Chili Piper falls. So if you have a G2 profile and you're paying to have the customizations that we offer, then you can access those integrations as well. So quick overview of our Partner Hub. Hopefully this works. Can we all see the Partner Hub? Great. When you land on the Partner Hub, you'll basically see a bunch of filters to be able to find what type of integration you're looking for. But I will click into the Chili Piper one to show just kind of the information that you can access through this marketplace. Of course, requesting a demo of any individual integration is available on every page, but also our documentation and our direct link to set it up inside of My G2 for customers are linked out from these pages. And then I'll also call out, so there are screenshots included for every integration to kind of give you an understanding of what to expect. But what is so awesome about our Chili Piper one is we have pretty great video documentation for the setup steps that will go even deeper than what we talk about today. So if you're interested in setting this up for your profile, I would definitely recommend starting with that video documentation. And then of course, some outcomes you can expect. And then if you don't really know where to go from here, we have next step and recommendations for any which user that comes to our Partner Hub. So going back to our deck, of course, we're getting into the good stuff, what we're all kind of here for. Our Chili Piper integration, in short, what it allows you to do is route one of your CTAs on your G2 profile to directly integrate with your Forum Concierge from Chili Piper. So instead, and I'll walk you through the experience of before and after profile in just a second, but it ultimately allows you to collect qualified inbound leads from your G2 profile. So here's a little bit of what it looks like. We have this new tool with our product marketing team here at G2. And so I set this up to kind of show what the before and after looks like. So bear with me. This is the first time I'm using this tool. It's pretty cool. It takes you on a product tour. So this is the before of a profile that is not integrated with G2. Basically, the experience today is somebody would click on the contact button on your G2 profile. They fill out a form with their information. They click contact and they get a message is delivered notice. So ultimately the user gets confirmation that their information was submitted to the vendor that they were wishing to contact. And they wait until the vendor kind of reaches out to schedule a demo or set up a meeting. Now with Chili Piper integrated, basically these are an overview of the steps of what you would have to do. Inside of my G2's integration hub, you would click on the Chili Piper tile, and then it takes you to setup steps to input information from your Chili Piper instance. So I will call out that you do need Chili Piper access to the admin in order to capture this information and put it in here. And so you put in your domain, your router name, and the button text that you want. It can be custom if you keep both profile buttons on your G2 profile. So this one you'll see here, we inputted book a meeting for this example. And so now the new profile experience would be that person clicks on the CTA where we set up book a meeting. They fill out that same form. And this is where this information kind of qualifies the lead or not. Then you hit continue scheduling. And just like that, they can select a time, schedule a meeting, and voila, I booked a meeting with Sarah. And so both upon receipt here, both the software buyer that's browsing your page on G2 and the rep who is booked through the Chili Piper router will get calendar invitations on their calendar, whether it's Gmail or whatever they use. And then I think that is almost the end of my spiel here. Just to reiterate what everybody does need in order to leverage this integration, you first need to have a paid profile with G2. So that's our essential package or above. The Forum Concierge product from Chili Piper. And also it is recommended, but not required, but highly, highly recommended that a new inbound router is set up in Chili Piper. And so the information that you would put into my G2 is based on the new inbound router that you set up. And I guess that's a great kind of opportunity to pass it over to Sarah to share kind of why and what the marketing operations reasoning behind having a new inbound router, and also kind of like the sales routing process for having a net new router specific to your G2 profile.
Yeah, for sure. I think first, like what I love about what you just did, Rachel, is you walked us through how to do the integration. And I think that took you less than 5 minutes to do through and through, which is incredibly impressive. I think if you're in, demand gen and operations, you always want to do things that invest in better SLAs and improve customer experience, but you don't always have the time to take on a massive project. And this is like the perfect integration to set up and optimize what you're doing already without a massive lift. I think for us at G2, it took us maybe 30 minutes, if that, to set up the integration, which is amazing. We have decided to go with our traditional routing system and not build anything new really from scratch. But what we did do and what we thought was really important in terms of enablement and communication with sales is making sure that these meetings that get on their calendar from our product page have denotation that they came from our product page for sales. We find that to be really important because these people are likely researching, these prospects are likely researching you and your competitors, and they kind of understand what you do and who you compete with. And so we want to make sure sales is ready for that conversation. I've also seen a lot of companies, bypass these types of meetings from SDRs and BDRs and putting them directly on the AE's calendar because of where they are in the funnel and the research that they've done. But all in all, I would say that we really focus on Chili Piper improving our customer experience and being able to have really quick SLAs. It's one of our highest priorities at G2 right now is to improve our SLA time. And this integration has really helped us do that. And I'm happy to be here and answer any questions that anyone has. If anyone set it up or thinking about setting up, I'm happy to be a resource.
Thank you, Sarah. So this is the time in the office hours where we open it up for discussion and questions, concerns. I guess we can start by a show of hands. Does anyone have this integration active on their G2 profile? Yeah, us too, actually. Nice. So does anyone have any questions or comments or want to revisit any piece of the demo that we visited? Or rather, we can also chat about kind of the experience of setting it up. I don't want to call anyone out, but I think I did see a couple of hands raised for having this integration live. So does anyone want to kind of share what they've seen?
Let's see if that helps. So the first person that asks a question will get a Chili Piper branded hot sauce sent to them after the session.
Which I actually opened for the first time like a couple weeks ago, and it's almost gone. It was sitting in my pantry for a while, and then in my clean out, I brought it into my fridge, and it's really delicious. It's really great.
It's the perfect time to ask the question, Rachel, then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and feel free if you don't want to come off mute or anything like that. The chat is open and I am watching it, so we're happy to answer any questions there.
Just joining for fun, just being a fly on the wall for our office hours.
I have a question, I think, for the Chili Piper team, just as experts of setting up routing and booking features. What is your best hot tip on improving the process of your booking system? Like, what is it that you see companies do really well that have like the best customer experience with a router?
I think for me, it's ensuring that the experience and the verbiage that you actually have on the top of the modal fits to what your persona is, in addition to the times. So I've often seen that when people, you would think when you offer a ton of times, it's helpful, but it's actually not. It creates like this paradox of choice, and people get overwhelmed by the number of things that are being offered. So I tend to recommend when that happens that you either, if you're offering 15-minute meetings, that you make it a little longer so there's less time shown, or that you use our dynamic variables so that it's a setting inside of the meeting type so that it changes the types of times that are offered and it's not showing so many. So that's my hot tip.
I've never heard that one before. That's awesome. I'm definitely going to bring that back to our team. We do the same exact thing. We do 15-minute meetings. And now that you mention it, I find myself doing the same thing when someone sends me a link. When there's too many options, it's definitely information overload.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely, I've actually seen customers change that and then their conversion rates go up. So
that's amazing.
That's interesting. I didn't think of like how to avoid drop off, I guess, once you get to the meeting scheduler, because I can see where there would be drop off after certain other steps in the process, but that's a great tip. What about for language on the CTA button? I know this was a big conversation in our process of building the integration. What are some kind of best practices around that, like the copy that you actually put on the button? And I'm also happy to chime in there what we recommend.
I am going to let you chime in because I'm blanking on the research we did, but we can send it in the follow-up because we did do extensive research on that for our demo site specifically.
Yeah, I think Chili Pipers, your research came with pick a time is like the highest conversion. But in this instance, it doesn't necessarily make sense for it living on your G2 profile by just putting pick a time on that button. I can't, it doesn't really align with the context of the G2 profile. And so through some of our testing and our custom CTA language, we actually recommend for customers in the US, they use book a demo or book a meeting. But then for those who have, or not customers in the US, customers serving the like North American market. But then if you service like global markets, to put schedule, because book doesn't necessarily like translate globally. So we offer the suggestion of schedule a demo or schedule a meeting.
Yeah, I think the big thing is definitely being clear about what folks are going to get once they click that button. I found a lot of times, especially with, website experience, regardless of if it's on a G2 product page, it can be a bit confusing when you click something that's like, request a demo, and then you immediately get to a calendar view. You can kind of be like, oh, I wasn't expecting to have to pick a time right now. When you quickly exit out, you're not really sure what's going on. So I do agree that making sure that you're very upfront with what people are going to be getting and making it a seamless process from start to finish.
Can we talk a little bit about like the queues and kind of the like how inbound routers and queues are related to each other inside of Chili Piper? And I'm sorry to be putting you on the spot, you two. We didn't talk about this beforehand about how we were going to, but in terms of like the qualification process. So if I'm a new customer of Chili Piper, and a new customer of G2, or just, have a G2 profile, like what are some things that I need to know about the lead routing process to the right rep when I'm setting up my inbound router?
Yeah, so the queues in Chili Piper's terminology are essentially those different buckets, your territories. So you would create your logic as you would do all Northeast states of America, and then you would add the assignees that are relevant to that bucket and do that for the Southeast, Southwest, Northwest, and then you would have your 4 buckets, your 4 queues, and then the inbound router is what pulls them all together. So you're able to toggle on all of those queues inside of it and route through multiple pieces of logic. In addition to, you could create ownership queues as well. So being able to route based on account owner or lead owner or custom ownership field on any of those records, and making sure that it goes to the appropriate rep. So you create your queues, you'll have multiple queues generally, and then your routers where you turn them all on, and we're able to route through all of the logic sort of in a waterfall fashion.
Thank you, that's helpful. And so how that would also relate to G2 is if you are a company that has multiple product profiles set up and only certain reps are assigned to selling specific products, you would actually set this integration up per product. So you may need to create a new inbound queue per product profile that you have to keep that routing process consistent across your lead flow with your company as well and your revenue org.